Okay, I got a nifty little script here that I'm demonstrating. It applies trim bias over the thrust in the X, Y, and Z, so forward, upward, and sideways. You can see here I'm applying bias to the forward axis. T5 is 100% bias, which you can see there, green, that means 100%, well, close to 100%. When I press the encoder E1, it resets the trim. White means 0. Blue is just one level band up. Yellow is one level band down. You can see that encoder T8 that I'm manipulating, that's 25% bias. The encoder is 1% bias per increment. So I'm in coupled mode right now. I think I'll be switching to decoupled mode soon. You'll see it plummet. Yeah, there we go. So now, yeah, to go up, I went 100% upward, reset it, and then brought it up by 25. And you can just adjust when you're in decoupled mode to account for gravity or wind in a storm, which will be shown in the footage later a little bit. That's just changing the sideways thrust. So this basically lets you fly similar to cruise control in decoupled mode. So it makes it similar to coupled mode in that regard, gives you a bit more flexibility there. Could be useful for manual docking maybe. It's also useful for landing, which I will demonstrate later towards the end of the video. So here I'm just flying at a slow speed. And now I'm just showing that there's no thrust being applied here. And soon I'll be demonstrating there that whatever trim bias you apply to thrust, you can see here, right, I went up to 100% and I'm dropping it down. Once I let go, it should go back to where the trim was set. So you can see that velocity, that thrust that was set by the trim is added on top of that input. So you can still fly the aircraft or the spaceship really, and the trim bias will simply be applied on top of your input. So I'm back to this. There's no audio in. I didn't apply my settings properly in OBS, but that's fine. So here I'm just flying around, applying trim. I think I'll be landing at some point further. Oh, okay, I'm just showing that again. It's the same thing. Yeah, just flying around. You can go faster, you can go slower. Once you release, it should go back to the bias settings you applied. It's pretty handy in decoupled mode if you're flying in atmosphere. Makes it a bit less annoying, so you don't have to constantly switch between coupled and decoupled. You can see a storm here. I don't know if it's visible to you. It's not much. I don't think would have been good to showcase that here. That's fine. For stronger wind, I could have shown it, negating it by applying trim. That's fine. So one cool thing with this is that you can control your rate of descent, which is useful for landing, regardless whether you're in coupled or decoupled mode. So instead of using the acceleration limiter, you can just directly control it from here. Be useful for larger ships, not the smaller ones. Would be fun to fly bigger ships with this. There we go, so I've reset all trim. You can see how it plummets in decoupled mode. So I'm just controlling it as well so I don't crash normally, right? With the stick, and here you'll see I'll adjust the rate of descent. I've deployed the gear, so the descent gets wonky, right? So here you can just force it to descend at a certain rate. Usually when you deploy your gear, it changes the flight dynamics a little, so you have a bit of control here, and you can see I can adjust how quickly I go down. I can still apply inputs myself, right? There you go.